Thank you very much for coming back to my studio. In this video, I'd like to share with you how to draw and to understand the basic structure of the Gothic architecture. But it's more of looking at the structure through drawings and the basic elements of the Gothic buildings. Based on the Gothic churches, there are some famous Gothic cathedrals such as the Westminster Abbey in London and also Notre Dame in Paris. And in this video, I'm going to look at the how the vaulted ceiling constructed and the hidden behind the true structure behind these rather fanciful ceiling from that cannot see the view from below once you're inside the church. But this drawing is about viewing them three-dimensionally from above. So what hidden behind those beautiful majestic looking architecture. And just a brief introduction, the basic how to identify Gothic architecture is based on the iconic shape of the pointy arches,
larger and brighter churches,
and ribbed vaulted ceiling,
continuous walls itself.
We might ask then,
and also the flying buttress on the side, on the exterior of the buildings.
Sure, the flying buttress.
And the Gothic architecture is actually evolved from the Romanesque architecture. The Romanesque architecture has a thicker wall with round arches, and with that thicker wall, it retains the pressure from above, from the arches from above, and transmit to the ground. As on the contrary to the Gothic structure, it has a much thinner wall.
If the pointed arch redirects its weight
to allow us more daylighting into the inside to the main building, to the nave in the church. But instead of having thicker wall, instead it has a thinner wall with pointy arches, and also instead of using thicker wall to retain this pressure, to sustain the pressure, and it has this kind of a flying buttress on the side of the building.
Flying buttress, essentially a bracing in between the windows on the outside of the church.
And because they are relative,
to transmit all this pressure from above, horizontally and vertically to the ground. So in this drawing, I would like to share with you how to draw that vaulted ceiling, pointy arches. Just the shell, just the basic more elements of that building structure. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope this drawing worthwhile sharing, and hope it's insightful to understand the Gothic elements, Gothic architecture, Gothic structure. It's not about creating beautiful drawing in this one, it's more about sketch drawing, but more of an informative drawing in terms of Gothic architecture and structure. Hi everyone, thank you very much for coming back to my studio. In this video, I'd like to share with you how to draw the shell of the part of the Gothic structure, particularly the most iconic part of the Gothic architecture, the ribbed vaulted ceiling with pointy arches. I'm not going to draw the entire building, but I'm going to draw part of that. Basically, this part will be the same, typical of the traditional classical building. They are repetitive, symmetrical, the same elements that are repeated the entire elevation of the inside. And this drawing is about study, more of a building study drawings. In terms of structure, the vaulted ceiling with pointy arches structure on the ceiling, and of course I started with the cubic shape first, the isometric lines. I'm going to do the one arch windows on each side, and also the on all four sides, and started with the isometric shape above, and vertical lines, and to start with, to find using this kind of geometry lines rather than perspective or vanishing point for this perspective drawing. And in this one, I'm going to find the center point from above rather than on the side, above and below, by drawing the diagonal line from one corner to another, and where the line cross each other, there will be the reference of the center point. Simply draw my line parallel with the both outlines, and similar to the by finding the center point from above, I then find the center line on the front as well, on the side elevation, front elevation, so that I don't have to draw too much line to keep this line clean, because such a small drawing, and instead of finding the line by creating diagonal crossing line on the side, but instead using the find the center point from above and below, just like this. So the next one is I'm going to find the approximately the center of this the side of this building, below and above sections. The idea is to find the base of these pointy arches in relation to the column below. To create these pointy arches, I started with the kind of a pitch roof shape. Again, this more of a like triangular shape as the reference or guideline to form my round pointy arches. Not completely round, but more of a pointy arches, by using this pitch shape to start with, so that in a proportion or in shape in terms of perspective views, just what I'm doing right now, to give this sense of a curvy shape, right? Just circling around that straight diagonal pitch roof lines to form this curvy shape of this roof. What I understand is the initially churches were made of timber, but because timber didn't last long and also flammable material, many of the arches that were made of timber were burned into ashes back in the days. Then it changed into bricks, concrete and stone, which are much more durable and good in compression. However, they are super heavyweight material property for building. Therefore, the master builder engineers at the time came up with a solution, and believed that the Roman who introduced concrete. But as I said from the beginning, the Gothic architecture evolved from Romanesque architecture. Instead of having round arches with thicker walling, it's much thinner wall to allow more windows, more daylighting, and pointy arches, which is a vaulted ceiling. The idea is that with vaulted ceiling, all the pressure from above, the compression from above, will be transmitted into the side walling. That is also supported like to the flying buttress, like a bracing in between of these pointed arches windows on the side of the building. Now, by drawing this, I'm trying to indicate the shape of these side windows with the pointy arches, with the center of these arches how they join using this ribbed boarded ceiling. And the next one is I'm going to add these lines using which to indicate these bricks or stones by creating this line parallel with the line on the side and below and above, just like this, how they're meeting, how this line met with the air shape from these wheels. From what I understand, this brick are much more long, thinner and longer, with much thicker mortar to keep it, join them together to keep it strong. And in between where they meet, there were thinner stones. So for now, I'm going to draw these lines where it cross on the valley of this, where each of these ceiling met. I'm going to add much more line in it to create much thicker, more compact, as an indication of these bricks, these masonry's craftsmanship. Just like this. And of course the how they shape from below, how it join into the column. Just add more thicker line on these outlines to indicate these pointy arches. And the next one, I'm going to add a bit of a line to accentuate the shape of this voted ceiling. Because it's a bit pitchy at the moment. Try to make it much more curvy. And of course I'm going to add a bit detail on this, how these bricks and mortar form this boarded ceiling. These are the main structure of this Gothic structure before with the cosmetic interior of the ceiling. These waters are hidden behind all those decorative or ornamental features that's added into the Gothic churches. And of course, as I said earlier, it is a durable material. However, it's heavyweight. There was no steel framing at the time, so this is the solution. This is what the builders and engineer at the time came up with, the creating vaulted arches, vaulted ceiling with pointy arches, with rib in between them, with a valley rib on the top above it. And of course, each one of them will carry the pitch roof above. And in between of these windows, this column, there will be flying buttress on the side, like braces to hold them, to support them from each side, so the pressure from above with continuously to the side, but horizontally, and transmit vertically to the ground with numbers of this opening. Instead of having small windows like the Byzantine architecture, with more windows adds more light, because I believe that light is symbol to the glory of God. So now I'm going to do a bit of hatch on this one to make it much darker. Assume that the light is coming from the left and much darker to the right. So I'm going to make it darker on this valley, the rib on the valley. And of course, this the very basic form of the vaulted ceiling for the Gothic architecture, as it's much more advanced. Instead of just curvy on the side, they're curvy also on the shape, also on the ridge, which top of these arches. And of course, in reality, there will be a capiter where the end of these arches connected to, rested on. Then, and of course, this column will be added with a colonnade, a round shape, to make it much more ornamental, much more stylish in a way. And now I'm going to add a bit of detail on that bricks underneath the arches, under this ceiling, and thicker on this side. I think I need to make much darker there too. Keep a bit of a horizontal hatch there, horizontal hatch line to make it much darker, and on the other side there too. So here we are, finishing this drawing with more hatch. This is the drawing study of the Gothic architecture. To understand this enduring marvel of the Gothic architecture, the rib vaulted ceiling and the pointed arches, the basic elements, iconic elements of the Gothic architecture. See you again next time in the next video. Thank you.